Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, yeah, we're going to talk about Steve Spurrier. He's been mocking Matt Rhule, as you can imagine, what he's making fun of him about. And also the FCC and Saban's potty mouth. Turns out Saban's been using some words. It's upset some people, and they've sent in some complaints. We're going to talk about that as well. Let's start out with Steve Spurrier having some fun with Matt Rhule. Now, as you know, Matt Rhule has had an interesting offseason. He has been making a lot of changes, much of which appears to be based on fear. And the major thing that he did, which we've talked about on this channel quite a bit, is that he canceled both games with Tennessee that he had in 2026 and 27, which would have been home and home. He canceled both games and paid Tennessee $1 million to get out of those two ball games. And he came out and eventually told everybody, he's like, look, said, I didn't want to have to play tough games given the fact that the College Football Playoff Committee doesn't take strength of schedule into consideration at all. Now, of course, this totally creaked Tennessee because now they're going to be struggling to find a Power 4 team to play home and home. They're probably going to have to play on a neutral site, both games, two different teams. It's going to be a real pain, and it's going to hurt the city of Knoxville because they lose a home game. But again, Matt Rhule, let's just call it what it is. He ran away.
When danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned his tail and fled. Yet brave Sir Robin turned about and gallantly
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt. But now he's canceled the spring game because he's scared to death somebody's going to poach one of his players. And Steve Spurrier didn't think it was going to be too good what he was planning on doing with the spring game, practice, or whatever you want to call it. And this is on a show called Another Duly Noted Podcast. I don't know that I've ever seen this. I believe it's a Florida channel or Florida type channel.
Okay, let's see. You have anything, Coach, for us? Anything special?
Spring games, April 12th. I'm glad Billy Napier's still going to have the game. And some of these schools.
A lot of coaches aren't, yeah.
They're going to have passing and kicking contests, Nebraska said. I don't know.
You're going to go to that game?
I don't think I'm going to go to
I don't think you'll watch it on TV either.
Skill test, like the NFL does the skill test.
Oh, yeah, you could tell he was holding back. He didn't have much use for their little thing that they're going to be doing in their skill tests. And it turns out what they're going to be doing is 7-on-7 passing drills with a mix of volleyball and soccer. Now, there's also going to be a couple of other contests. This will be one of them.
The belching contest.
And of course, besides the belching contest, it wouldn't be a spring game without, of course, the tricycle race.
The object of the race is to complete 20 laps around the track while stopping every lap for a mandatory pit stop, at which time the driver will chug a beer.
Yeah, so Nebraska's got it all set up. It's going to be all kinds of fun and games. I think that tricycle race will be a hoot. And I think the Nebraska fans will enjoy it. The players can enjoy it. Hopefully they don't drink a beer every lap, though. I'd say maybe it'll be near beer or something like that. Old Duels 0.0. Anyway, sounds like it's going to be a great fun for all the Nebraska fans. They don't need a game. Who needs a spring game? When you can have volleyball, belching, tricycles, it's perfect. And Matt Rhule doesn't have to worry about anybody watching a kid on a tricycle going, man, he sure could help us. So it's the perfect plan. And nobody's laughing about it or making fun of you at all, which is good. All right, now we need to talk about the FCC possibly coming down on one Nick Saban. Yep, FCC complaints about Nick Saban swearing on ESPN, profanity stuffed in my face. Now, there's going to be a small amount of profanity in this. Obviously, I've got to be able to read the words. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to hear that, I don't want you coming in the comment section, oh, you didn't warn me, you didn't warn me. Yes, I did. This is your opportunity. Humongous, tell them.
Just walk away.
Yeah, just walk away. Don't come back in the comment section. You didn't know, you should have. You were warned. There's going to be a profane word or two.
You don't need to hear things like that. You just a boy. You need to think about good thoughts while you're still a boy.
His former Alabama football coach made waves by using a profane word or two. He was talking about flag planting incidents, etc., across college football. He said, I think to fine these schools $100,000 is like worrying about mouse manure when you're up to your ears in elephant shit. So there was some unhappiness over that line. And the complaint that the FCC received, and they received 2 or 3 of them, said Nick Saban said the word shit twice, bitch once, and something else I can't remember. He said, I tune in to gain knowledge and insight of college football, not to have profanity stuffed in my face by a former coach trying to be funny. It will continue until you fine them $1 million or more. Chintzy fines accomplish nothing. They received 3 obscenity complaints mentioning Saban. None of them came from the state of Alabama. Absolutely not. And never will there be one. Now, Pat McAfee, if you've watched Pat's show, especially if you watched it on, I believe it was on YouTube, now he'll get in there and he'll get some ugly words rolling, but for them to pick out Saban kind of surprises me. And if you want to know what the Alabama folks think about this, I will show you the perfect example of how upset and concerned they are about this.
You're complaining about nothing. But anyway, this article came off AL.com. These fans are actually writing letters, taking time out of their day to write letters and mail letters, email letters, or however they do it. They writing letters to the FCC, the Federal Communications Committee, complaining about Nick Saban and Pat McAfee and the game day crew. Now, Nick Saban is a 7-time national championship winning coach. The best college football coach of all time. And he didn't get that title by not using profanity. I can tell you that. I'm an Alabama fan. And I know Nick Saban curse a hell of a lot. And just because he's not a coach no more, that don't mean it's going away. He probably cursed less than what he used to because he's not doing what he used to. Okay? Used to do. So, and if you've been following Pat McAfee over the years, you knew what he was going to bring to college game day.
Yeah, and I think Kangaroo speaks for about 99% of all Alabama fans, how concerned they are about that. And I got to admit, when you bring in a coach that coached back in the 70s and 80s and 90s and expect him to have perfect language and never have a single profanity, I promise you when he was out on that practice field, that would have been milquetoast compared to some of the stuff that he was saying, especially back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, good gosh, you can only imagine. I mean, he's cleaned it up 99%. But anyway, it doesn't surprise me somebody complained about it. It is what it is. But I thought you should listen to an Alabama fan exactly how they feel about it and how concerned they are. Anyway, wanted to bring those 2 stories to you. Of course, Tennessee, we still haven't found our replacements yet for Nebraska and their chicanery and shenanigans that they pulled on us, Matt Rhule. But hey, you know, chickens do what chickens do. Oh, and I did want to show you guys something. I played golf last couple of days. We ran into this guy, Mr. Snapping Turtle, and he was big. He was coming out of a pond almost onto a tee. And here's my brother Chilmont on the 18th hole. This was his second shot on the par 5. Needless to say, I guess you could say he was slightly out of bounds. Look, he's just off the white line. And this is over at Sevierville Golf Club on the 18th hole. Anyway, I made him stand by his ball so we could take the picture. And again, y'all know Chilmont well. Golf is not an easy sport. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, hit this little button right here. It won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.